Imagine waking up one morning and the planet beneath your feet has stopped. No warning, no earthquake, no sound, just one invisible motion gone. The strange part, you wouldn't stop with it, because right now, even while sitting completely still, you are moving with Earth at nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour near the equator. That's airplane speed. You're flying right now. You just never feel it because everything moves together. But if Earth stopped in one instant, the ground would stop. You would not. In less than 1 second, every human, every building, every car, every tree would continue moving eastward at over 1,000 kilometers per hour. Cities would become debris. Skyscrapers would fold. Entire forests would be ripped out of the soil. The world wouldn't shake. It would simply throw everything off its back. And that's only the first second. The atmosphere moves with the planet too. That means the air around you is also spinning. And when the ground stops, the air doesn't. The entire atmosphere would keep racing around the globe. Imagine every breeze, every cloud, every breath, suddenly moving faster than most passenger jets. The sky would become a weapon. Supersonic winds would slam into continents. Shockwaves would flatten structures before people even understood what happened. Glass would explode. Steel would bend. The air itself would hit like a wall. Some scientists describe it like a planetary-scale blast wave, like the entire atmosphere became one giant storm wrapping around the world. There would be nowhere to hide. Not underground, not indoors, not in the strongest city ever built, because your enemy wouldn't be weather anymore. It would be the atmosphere itself. And while the sky destroys the land, the oceans begin moving. Water has momentum. And momentum doesn't care that the planet stopped. The oceans would continue moving. Massive walls of water would surge eastward. Tsunamis larger than anything in recorded history. Not a wave, a moving ocean. Coastlines would vanish. Cities like Kolkata, New York City, and Tokyo would disappear under moving water and debris. Maps would become history. And after the storms pass, the real nightmare begins. There would be no sunrise every morning, no sunset every evening. Instead, one full day would last 1 year. 6 months of daylight, 6 months of darkness. One side of the planet would face the sun for months. The ground would bake, oceans would evaporate, deserts would expand into places that once grew forests. Then the same side would fall into darkness for half a year. Temperatures would collapse, ice would spread, entire regions would freeze solid. Civilization depends on daily cycles. Plants, animals, humans sleep, weather systems, agriculture, everything you know is synchronized to the turning of this planet. Without that rhythm, life breaks. The planet becomes two worlds, one burning, one frozen. And the thin strip between them, that might be the only place left survivable. A narrow ring around the planet, a twilight border between fire and ice, like humanity living forever during sunset, which sounds poetic, until you realize that sunset never ends. Earth is not perfectly round. It bulges slightly around the equator. That bulge exists because the planet spins. Like water rising along the edge of a spinning bucket, if the spin stopped, that shape would slowly collapse. The equator would flatten. The bulge disappears, and water would move toward the poles. Entire oceans could migrate. The equator could become drier. The poles could become massive flooded basins. The continents themselves wouldn't move immediately, but the seas would redraw coastlines. Countries would change shape. Borders would become meaningless. Human history was built around stable land, stable seasons, stable oceans, but stability is just motion you've gotten used to. And once that motion stops, everything starts changing. Even gravity feels different. Many people think if Earth stopped spinning, gravity would vanish. It wouldn't. Gravity comes from mass. The planet still has that. You wouldn't float into space. You'd actually feel slightly heavier, because right now the spin creates a tiny outward force.
It's small,
But it slightly reduces your weight. Without it, you gain a little extra weight. Not enough to crush you, just enough for physics to remind you who's in charge. That's the terrifying thing. Gravity survives. The planet survives. The sun survives. The universe keeps going. It's just the world you knew that disappears. And the strangest part? This is already happening, very slowly. Earth is not spinning forever at the same speed. It is slowing down, tiny, almost invisible, roughly 2.3 milliseconds every century. Because the moon pulls on our oceans, that drag steals rotational energy. The day gets longer, a fraction at a time. So, yes, one day, in a distant future, the planet may stop. Not tomorrow, not soon. But physics says motion is temporary, even for worlds. Right now, you're standing on a spinning world, racing through space, orbiting a star, flying faster than a jet, and you feel none of it, because reality is built on motion so constant, your brain mistakes it for stillness. That may be the strangest truth of all. The ground beneath you feels stable, but stability was never real. It was just movement so old, you forgot it was there.